peace now. I got nothing to lose, cause I fought and felt the bruise. Now I'm not the one confused, call the shots and they produce. I ain't lost, I'm finally loose. Pick a new silver excuse, I need the views to boost me to a new abuse of being used. Everybody wants a piece now, y'all can rest in peace now. You're dead to me, so peace out. Remember you're discreet now. Get ready for defeat now, I'm gonna make you bleed out. Listen on repeat now and weed out all the weak now. Get up and make a change, don't remember yesterday. If you got something to say, speak your mind before your grave. Cause your life is yours to save, ain't nobody gonna change. Everybody stays the same, so be different, make a name, huh?
I keep on moving forward, always getting closer. I march until it's over, and just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer. I march until it's over, and just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer. I march until it's over, and just like a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer. I march until it's over.
It's ridiculous, I'm spitting this meticulous and limitless, while others out there spitting shit got hits up on the charts instead. I see why other artists quit, cause people don't reward good shit. They love to hate but hate to live. Society, you swing and miss, and honestly I get it. Promise me you won't regret it. Wasting energy, forget it. Don't look back, go on and get it. Bite the bullet just a bit, bite your tongue and don't say shit. Make your actions hard to miss, be a legend not a myth. Yeah. It's obnoxious that I'm conscious, rapping honest as promise. Try to harness, as an artist stay modest. It's a long quest, I will not quit till 10,000 people going off when I drop this. I gotta make it now, swear to God I'm breaking out. Swear to God I'll take a bow, stand the stage with the crowd, cause I got it figured out. I'm just honest and I'm loud, staying modest but I'm proud. No, I never had a doubt,
Just like
yeah.
a soldier, I keep on moving forward, always getting closer. I march until it's over, and just like a soldier.
All right, here we are. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. It's finally time. The next split of Valence League starts here in Division 2. We have two completely new teams about to hop into Champion Select. It is the Garlic Bread Mafia against Duascht Gaming. I'm hoping I pronounced that right. I am Motojo. I am here with Melvin Nizzle. Are you as excited as I am?
Absolutely. Two new teams for a brand new cast to the league. Lovely to meet you all, and I can't wait to get into these games as we are already jumping into pick ban.
Yeah, we already see the Kindred and the Malphite band. You have done some preparation on these teams. So tell me, did you expect that, and what do you expect next?
Yeah, definitely. What we can just quickly summarize on the right side, the host and Dusht Gaming, you want to be banning a lot of Initiate, like we see Gragas, Malphite, they've got Sejuani, things like this. They primarily focus around getting their mid laner, their snowballing assassin picks online, and then using the top side of the map to just go straight in with dive picks. And then the bot lane just follows up with some premier picks like their Jhin, things like this that just follow up. Whereas on the Garlic Bread Mafia side, which is the blue team here, they more so focus around getting their bot lane the best picks they can get. They are by far the strongest members of the team, so expect to be looking for picks to play around there, control mages in the mid lane, and somewhat wacky picks coming out from jungle and top.
All right, ban phase is over. Anivia, Kai'Sa were the follow-ups from the side of Hostan Duascht, and Gragas and Yone. So one of the signature picks from Floki gone, as well as two picks that Deuter likes to play in the top lane. Now, Jhin is the first pick we've seen in preseason quite a lot. Very strong champion still, isn't he?
Most certainly, he is by far one of the premier ADCs, but we've seen priority fall to Kai'Sa and Samira a lot as far as professional players gone. Obviously, they're much higher skill cap champions as far as it goes, but they are much less reliable when it comes to it. And as we see here, the Jhin getting taken away, Jumba wanting to do that, Ashe being the next pick that both ADCs could test over. This could be either the Comet build or more of the brawling actual scrappy. And here's the Sejuani we talked about earlier. That is by far Majkun's best jungle pick.
Yeah, also, whenever you see Jhin on the enemy team as a first pick, most teams will like to stack their team composition with as many tanks as they can, because Jhin will have trouble cutting them down at a certain point in the game. The Sejuani is locked. We switch over to the Garlic Bread Mafia again.
Yeah, I'm going to be interested to see what pick they particularly pull out as an answer to this Sejuani. There's things like Morgana that can be flexed around the team. There's a couple different ones. They could just opt for the Hecarim here, which is a very prominent meta champion. Kindred already banned. That is How to Typo's best champion. They played it a lot. She was a big Kindred player last season. And now we see two prevalent champions coming out. It's a lot heavier meta we're seeing right now from the Garlic Bread Mafia, with Host and Dosh going much more down their own style of heavy CC. We see the Brom coming in, layering on top. Expect this to continue as we go with more CC to go on top.
Yeah, and they already have the 3 Freljord synergy right in there. So they'll feel right at home with champions. They have played a lot in solo queue, and that are quite tanky. We already have 2 fairly tanky team comps with just what we are seeing here. The junglers are not of the squishy type, and the supports also will be beefcakey. Now the next bans are coming through. You did expect the Cassiopeia ban to come in first phase, but now here it is second phase, answered by the Orianna.
Yeah, I find it interesting, the Cassio ban, while it is Silver Wisp, one of their premier picks. Thing is, Orianna on Floki's end is a very good pick into it. So the banning of the Casio is more so kind of thing saying we want to go for this assassin mid lane style. And since Floki plays a lot of these mid lane melee champions, that synergizes extremely well with the Sejuani, being able to fully stack that passive, chain CCing in. So expect to see some kind of assassin pick, probably save for last, and we'll more than likely see Deuter pull out something as a heavy tank top lane. Potentially the Shen, that's still on the table. Ornn, obviously, still the premier beefcake of the top lane.
Yeah, I already see Twitch chat telling them this is not teamfight tactics. So they're swaying away from the Freljord now. No more Glacial. We have Ornn locked in for the top lane.
Well, you say not Glacial, but I believe Ornn is actually from the Freljord, so they're keeping the theme going, and we'll have to see how they actually... I don't think that's an Evelyn, oddly enough. how they actually try and break through this tank line. Because with a lot of these control mages taken off the table, the Seraphine, Cassio, and the Anivia knockdown, we're going to see one of the lesser picks of Silver Wisp. Twisted Fate is a premier pick in the meta right now, and actually, Darius is on the table. Thunderin has played it in the past and would do quite nicely into a majority of the champions on the enemy team if they can ever get on top of them.
Yeah, I would really like to see that Silas that they hovered earlier, because there's already quite the amount of very good ultimates he could steal from that Freljord composition that Hossand Duascht have been drafting. But the Darius as well, with the Twisted Fate in the mid lane and the heavy gank jungler like the Hecarim, they're already signaling we want to get this top lane ahead.
Now, the only thing right now is this comp has a lot of beef, but not that much damage. And they need something right now to control this Darius and snowball off of the Twisted Fate, not doing all too much in the early game. Echo seems like a good pick to do so. Offers a lot of shred through the tanks. Obviously, as we said, synergizes with the rest of them. And frankly, if the enemy team gets held in place for that long, the Echo parallel convergence can actually come in as follow-up CC of all things, instead of just the pick initiate tool it's usually used as.
Yeah, now we see the comps locked in. We have quite the interesting amount of beef on one side, with an assassin sprinkled in for some spice. So tell me, what do you think is this game going to look like? Who do you prefer when it comes to team comps?
Now, as far as preference, I think that the ease of execution, I would personally say goes over to the Hostendost red team here, as you kind of just sit there and scale. And if the enemy team can't force things with this Twisted Fate, the level 6, if they're not getting proactive plays, putting top lane ahead and getting this Darius snowballing, it's going to be really tough for them to even attempt to break through the beef later on, because Jhin, while good in the meta as it is, doesn't have all too much to follow up off of. They follow up off of the initial CC, but the counter dive available from this Ornn, from this Echo, is really scary for them to play around.
That is definitely the case. I do agree with you here. The ease of execution definitely on the side of Hossand Duascht. The question will be, if this Darius gets ahead, if this Darius gets really rolling with some ganks from the Hecarim and some ultimate ganks from the Twisted Fate, do they have enough to stop him from just rolling over this team? Can they slow him down enough? The Braum, obviously a good champion to do that. But I think this will be one of the central questions of the game. Of course, also bot lane will be interesting to see if Jumba and Depressed Llama can get ahead enough, as we thought before, bot lane would be their focus. Will the tanks on the other side get beefy fast enough to stop this Jhin?
Now, it's interesting to look at that, because it's all about how well they can put this Ashe behind, because that almost answers every question you just put down there, because the Ashe is going to be one of the primary disengage tools for this Darius, as it's really hard for him to run through volley. I'll be interested to see if this Darius opts for Strybreaker plus Ghost, or any alteration of the two, to see how they can attempt to get back into, get onto the backline here and just run through the tanks. And as for the Jhin, their ability to break through this front line is very dependent on the team being ahead of the game, because Twisted Fate is going to struggle to initiate so long as Braum is there, as they can just eat that yellow card, and it makes it very tough for Jhin to follow up onto that, because when the wall is up, fourth shot from both ultimate and basic attacks, nullified for Jhin. When you look around the rest of the team, the Sejuani, they need to have their initial armor and passive magic resist clipped off before the Jhin actually does stuff to them. So it's really just if they can pick off the Echo, who is vulnerable to being CC'd. They do have an Alistair. That's a good way to stop the Echo dive. So really, it's just how quickly Jhin can react to that specific dive champion, in my opinion.
Yeah, one thing of note that I've almost forgot to talk about, I'm really liking the Ornn pick when you already have the Braum to pair it with, because it does mean you cannot counter the Ornn with the Braum. I have seen too many Ornn ults just fizzle out into a Braum shield to not talk about this.
Yeah, I think one of the reasons that Ornn themselves has been just coming up big is because similar principle, but with Samira, of the Samira W is so obnoxious for Ornn that it's just the same thing as Braum, but they don't even need to pick a specialist support to do it, because Samira is just good as herself. So this is the kind of thing of, because they first picked the Jhin, you don't have that option anymore. So, like you said, as soon as they took away the Braum, that really limits the amount of ways you can effectively nullify Ornn. So, reliable engage coming out here. We just need to focus on the blue team for if they can get rolling in the early game.
Just seeing these team icons for the first time, I really like both of them. But now let's see if there's going to be beer or garlic bread on the table after this first game as we enter loading screen to look at runes, to look at summoner spells, and to admire the skins these players have chosen for their champions.
Yeah, interesting that Darius has actually opted for the teleport. This is implying that they don't so much worry about running to the backline. So you need to be watching things like the Hecarim, who is actually on for Ignite. We could get into that in a moment. And how they can dive in and try and negate this Ashe in the fights.
Yeah, we're going to pause at 10 seconds to synchronize here. Just so you're not wondering what is going on. I am paused at 10, and then now we're waiting
As am I.
to be clued in to unpause. Alright, and we are live on Summoner's Rift between Garlic Bread Mafia, pardon me, on the blue side, and Duascht Gaming representing Austria on the red side. And we see both teams already stacking. This is invade mania here.
Okay, so before we get into it, both teams have a reason to want to do this. They have the Braum on the red team, and this is obviously a super-powered force in these level 1s, but the blue team also have Darius and Hecarim as the ones getting walked into. So if the red team does not scout effectively, this can be explosive in the blue team's favor.
Alright, so far they're both just standing around.
Menacingly
looking at each other with angry faces, but frowny face is gone. They're walking back to their own jungle. Host and Duascht decide to not risk it on the invade, go back to their own blue buff, just dropping a ward in the tri-brush. So no information either on where the Hecarim is starting their jungle path.
Yeah, this is the thing of looking at it. They do have the Ignite on Hecarim this game, which means they're actually a lot more annoying to duel in these early levels. So it would have been a bit harder with the fact of no Ignites on the red team walking into double Ignite. That gives them a lot more burst potential. And once Flowkill actually leveled up the Q on Echo instead of opting for the W, the invade was pretty much all but over. Because that is one of those other big, powerful tools that can secure this level 1 skirmish. But regular laning phase going forward, let's see how they can try and get push priority on the blue team.
Yeah, it's looking like both junglers are opting for the bot side start, getting the better lead from the bot lane. Directed camera really loves these top lane skirmishes, but we're a lot of damage taken down on both of them, but the Deuter is going to bleed a bit more. I think that Fender and will down this trade.
Now, as we look forward, something to remember is Darius did actually get hit on the most recent patch, where their 5-stack passive did get nerfed for the amount of AD they gain, so they are a bit less effective in these all-ins. Right there, it didn't make much of a difference because they didn't get to the 5-stack, but this is something to note that Ornn will be a bit more tanky relative to what the Darius might be expecting in these early levels.
He has been pushing this Ornn in, who's just now reached level 2, now safely farming on the tower. A ward and tri-brush will warn Fendoran if Mark Kuchen is going to come in after the red buff. But so far not very explosive yet, but I expect that to change once the junglers reach level 3.
Yeah, I think level 6 is where things are going to really start to pop off, as you can just look at it and see the ultimates, and you can already tell how the first fight is going to go. It's just going to be an explosion of sound on the screen, and like you said, it's just both junglers racing to this top side on their full clears, because neither of them want to get pulled.
That is a good pull from Fendoran, but he's already very, very low HP. He's dropping under 100 with these. He flashes forward for the Q, gets the first blood! Fendoran with a surprise! And gets the first kill of the game. He went in the bot lane, he pressed armor, going forward as well. But this does not seem to be looking to even get any summoners. But first blood goes to the side of the Garlics.
Absolutely baited right there. We were none the wiser, as we see another kill potentially happening in mid.
Yeah, that's Flash expended from Silver Wisp for nothing from Floki, basically.
Look at Llama.
But here comes
They're
the
following
from Alistar.
turned something. 3 people, yellow card.
Hecarim's here as well, but Dash does not get quite deep enough. Floki dashes away himself, gets ignited by Llama, but will live without using Summoners.
Yeah, and Garlic Bread just trying to go a bit too ham in these early fights. They had a really nice play on the Darius, who needs to get ahead, like we said. But trying to force the ticket a bit too hard on the mid lane, as we may see the counter fight.
Oh, Silver Wisp, he was too far in the Echo W, no escape there. He already had used the flash. Solo kill for Floki, and what we expected is starting to come to pass. This mid laner is the focal point of this team when it comes to carrying. So good on him to get a solo kill on the board as well.
Indeed, and interestingly, because Llama roamed to mid there and burned both their summoners, that actually takes a lot of pressure off of the red team's bot lane. This was something they were super worried about just looking forward, as it was the biggest skill disparity with regards to rank. But given the fact the enemy support, who is their primary troublemaker for you, now has no sums, you're living happy. You could just sit in this minion wave and they're not going to be able to force on you without Hector.
I mean, you have to keep in mind, as Horst and Dodge, that Alistar has opted for the Hex Flash, so there will still be engage options. They need to push up this wave first, or you cannot fight in the middle of 10 enemy minions.
And Hecarim is on that side of the map, but they are not going to tick 6 off of these Krugs by the looks of it, so 2 more camps to go before they can actually get that onslaught of shadows and actually access onto this backline. So we'll see where they decide to use it. Based on where they're pathing, I'd imagine it's either going to be mid from topside, or they might look for a cheesy gank before then.
Hecarim mid clearing out some vision. We saw a good trade from Deuter earlier in the top lane. He is slightly behind in CS and of course got killed. But these triple shots did look good. For now, he seems to be containing Darius a little bit. Marku is in the top lane though. 16 engage happening. Speaking of engages, double knockup from depressed Llama. But Braum says, okay, I don't really care. Lands back on the floor, shoots some ice forward, and now is down.
Yeah, despite Glotzen putting the wall slightly 180 degrees, still didn't really result in all too much. The Braum very tanky with Guardian available, so not too much kill threat happening there. However, I'd be interested to look at this top lane right now, as both Sejuani even and Hector are going to be up there. But it looks like Maggoon is not opting to gank this lane. They're just trying to get that level 6 and really cool.
We see because Llama is roaming mid again. Floki is very far forward. He still has the flash available. And Silver Wisp is quite low HP. He has the heal from the spellbook though. This could be the engage. Here comes the heal. How to typo is here as well. They're chasing Floki away. He's still over half HP and his jungler is here to help him out. They are going to have their Kuchen and eat it too. No summoning expanded still from Floki despite another 3-man camp.
And the thing is, with the amount that they're trying to force right here, you can just tangibly see it. It is always pushing the bot lane, which means there's never any dragon pressure for how to typo. So she's just wandering around the map right now, and until they tag that level 6 that they've just got now, there's not too much for her to do outside of just power farm, which is okay for Hecarim, but realistically, against Sejuani, you're both so much better at 6. Ooh. Just a trade. Just a trade.
Power shot there. I wanted to mention that positively for Silver Wisp, despite getting killed, CS lead of almost 20 has amassed for the Twisted Fate here. So definitely something to be mentioned here. Despite getting ganks, of course, which helps. Being so much up in CS while being down in kills is definitely something to be commended for.
Nearly getting that pullback on the Darius right there, but like you said, very good stuff. We see almost across the map, actually, CS leads. There's a TP into, well, yeah.
That's scary.
Yeah, the Echo might have, Floki could have potentially pressed W on ult on that one, and that could have been chunked out of lane almost as low as when they left it in the first place.
Yeah, even with that, it's like half HP now, even though Silver Wisp just teleported in. Will not be happy with himself here with that teleport. Floki teleports back to lane as well. Now has gotten that extra alternator. With the lower amount of CS, not quite as far in items as Silver Wisp, who's bought the blasting one, so slight item advantage despite getting killed.
And problematically for Twisted Fate, it's hard to roam on this card of HP with your ultimate, as we see a Force Scare happen here.
That is a missed Sejuani ult, but Nonetheless, Floki goes forward. He's very, very low. He has to ult up. There comes the Asher. Silver Wisp is on 1 HP. Barkuchen will get the kill despite being ignited. Now Haruto Taipo is on the wrong side of everything. Floki gets another kill. The triple knockup from Nama will not do anything. And now the chase could be on, but they decide to turn around. They've gotten their 2 kills. Darius has roamed down, but it's just too late to the party.
And that is so big for the side of the red team right there. We got to see that just... It didn't go so well at the start, with the Sejuani ult going a bit wide, but just the stacking of them, with the sheer DPS that the Sej and the Echo managed to put out, with just their base items as is, was so high, bursted out Silver Wisp, and How to Typo was left without options, even when Llama showed up to try and support them in the end.
Yeah, and to add insult to injury, How to Typo had to use ultimate and still died, so the next gank will be that much less dangerous. They did opt to not take Dragon there. Seems too risky for them, it seems. They do get the 2 kills. And now this Echo is truly, truly strong. The 2 kills and assist to his name.
And Jumba is one of the only players, I believe, in the game to have any league experience in our current league as is. They really do need to be the one that pull up their socks and take it away. With all these rookies in the game, it's something that you need to try and use your veteran experience as far as it goes. And frankly, on the Jhin pick, you're not really the same as when you're on Ashe. You can't be the primary initiator. And we talked about it in Champ Select. It takes a lot of the agency away from your team's best player.
Alright, we have the Ocean Dragon picked up by the side of Garlic Bread Mafia. Which they will be happy about. They are still around 400 gold in the lead, through CS and top and mid lane mostly. Another engage from Lama goes wide, and here comes the return damage from Ashenborn. This is so dangerous. The slows are here. Here comes the ultimate from Brom as well. Another slow. Here comes the arrow. Jumper is exhausted and one auto attack away from being stunned. Now Lama goes forward, trying to sacrifice himself to keep his ADC alive, but he might even make it out himself. A lot of ultimates and a lot of summoners have been used, but no kills in the bot lane.
And of all those resources just shredded through by both sides, really nice of the Garlic Bread Mafia to be able to escape from that. However, they do come out much worse for wear, and they're getting focused in by both the mid and jungler right now.
Yeah, I was going to say they are closing in on the lane, but since the lane is pushing and they do not know where the Hecarim is, they didn't opt for the dive, just took the ward in the Dragon Pit and turned around.
But you can clearly see where the focus of the Mafia is, because if you just look right there, we saw that the mid and jungle cleared out 2 control wards. That was 4 out of the potential 5 for the entire team, placed solely to protect Jumba on this Jhin and enable potential plays to the bot. So despite them setting up to try and get this bot lane ahead, they just haven't been down here. We haven't seen How to Typo manage to make their way down, and TFO finally getting used.
That is not a good place to be for Deuter. 3 people around him. There came the Destiny. He gets a double knockup and the Ornn ultimate, but it's just not going to be enough. He flashes away. Can he live? Here comes the onslaught of shadows, and How to Typo takes the kill. Now Floki is too far forward, has been ignited by How to Typo as well. Will get out though. Not having the flash available, he would have to rely on the Chrono Ray to get out of dicey situations. But for now, able to walk away, just losing Deuter in the river.
And like we saw there, Deuter is meant to be the most experienced member just as far as actual league knowledge goes. They are almost the director of this team, but that doesn't necessarily equate with mechanics at times. And while I like the idea of getting the ward on the Heck from there, it was just unfortunate timing against this Twisted Fate. We may see an attempt to steal this Herald.
Yeah, they are... Fenderin is half HP, but Alistar is around to secure it as well. I don't think Floki has any chance here, unless the smite from How to Typo would have gone wide. They don't need the smite after all. Floki disengages after seeing the Alistar. Just opts for wave clear. I'm really interested to see where they will use this Herald. They've given it to Fenderin, so it does look like top lane.
Yeah, jungler standing up there too. This is all too clear what they want to do. Deuter gonna need to be very careful. No ult, no flash. This is just gonna be, can they keep the tower alive or get anything in return?
Good damage onto How to Typo. Fenderin pulls him in though. Here is the Herald summoned. It will take at least 2 plates. Almost manages to kill the Herald actually. The tower will survive for now as Fenderin and Typo both decide to recall. But this tower is so fragile now, a stiff breeze could knock it over.
Yeah, and Deuter doing a nice job there of keeping it alive at least. That just allows them to stay up on the map and not let Darius get to almost being unlocked and starting to roam around so freely. At least this keeps some level of pressure up here. We see both top laners have their TP up. Dragon, minute 30, Now it's all about watching where Llama can set up vision to try and get potential flank TPs in for this Darius.
Yeah, and we're getting the first mythic items coming through as well. Darius has purchased the Strikebreaker. We see the Hextech Rocket Belt on Silver with the Fade. Hold that thought. Here comes the Glacial Prison onto Silver Wisp, who is very far forward pushing this tower. But with only the Sejuani here at first, he did seem to be safe. But Floki came in from the bot side and just picks up the kill, presented on a silver platter by his jungler. And that is another good kill for Hofstadter.
And great, just choice making by Deuter, as we see just zoning them off the tower. I don't think they're going to go for this kill after they didn't get the CC under the tower, but it has locked out these dragon potential, and now How to Typo stuck in the river.
The problem here is now Fenderin has his teleport available, needs about one auto attack to kill the tower, and the dragon is going to be alive with Deuter not having a TP, but we're having a skirmish already. How to Typo has to walk away, but she's in the middle of everybody. Manages to get away with the E-speeder, but Loki now getting stunned up, has to use the chrono break just to get a few inches away. Manages to survive. So far no one's died here. Top lane change that.
Well, they certainly want to. There's no Ornalt, remember, so this is a lot of damage coming through, and there's not a way to escape.
Yeah, that 1v1 will always be won by Darius in moments like these with the ultimate still available. Not even used here. Prestama goes down to so much CC, way too far forward, way too cocky here. And now it's two members dead of Hofstadter. One member dead of Hofstadter, one member dead on the other side. But there's Mark Kuchen dropping to the curtain call. And now it's a one-man advantage on the map. And now another route on the Floki. He doesn't have the chrono break, has the flash though. Gets away for now. Almost falls to the wildcard. Fenderin has taken the top tower outer and now is already punishing the inner tower while the Infernal Dragon is alive. I'm expecting the Garlic Bread Mafia to pick this one up with the Mayan advantage and the teleport advantage on the map.
Yeah, that really turned 180 right there. We saw it was started with How to Typo. She got picked out there, managed to survive with the Onslaught of Shadows. And then we just saw the game of keeping it very slowly. They managed to keep an extended fight, which usually would go in the favor of the tanks right there. But without having Deuter there to force, there was no actual access onto Jumbo on this Jhin. They actually get out of that scot-free, both summoners up, and ready to force more plays.
Well, they're trying to get the engage onto Floki, but the Echo is a bit too slippery at the moment with a phase dive available. Getting away. He has Markuchen around the corner. There's a lot of players congregating in the mid lane right now. Please don't ARAM, guys. The map is big.
I don't know. I'm feeling the ARAM right now. Rift Herald's going to be potentially coming out again soon, and we'll have to see if that gets used anywhere, as I don't think the second one was taken. My timer does only give me the Baron, though, so I'm not 100% on that. I didn't see it get used if the second one had come out. See a force on the mid.
Silver Wisp has no mana to speak of. Loki goes in, has the chrono break. They get the knockup, they use the chrono break, clean kill. But here comes Fenderin from the flank, gets the cure, pulls them both back in. Here come the executions. Floki's bleeding to death. Shutdown goes to Fenderin. And the chase is on meanwhile in the bot lane as well. Good knockup onto the Braum Dotson. Can he survive this? He goes golden. Llama now getting some tower shots and gets stunned up as well. The Ashe trying to get something. FTK kills the depressed Llama. Like Dotson at 1 HP. But that at the price of his own life. And here comes the curtain call. Can he get the snipe onto FDK? It's not looking like it. A bloody short turn of events. And Fenderin is getting out of it very fed.
Yes, that looked like a really nice play for the host team, but then we saw just the TP in from Fenderin, turned it around full 180, completely took them by surprise. They were not expecting that kind of flank and had no meaningful way to escape it, because in that long play that was in the bot lane, Floki had to use their Echo Flash, which resulted in them not being able to escape there when they committed so many resources to dive in this Twisted Fate once again.
Yeah, and I do think it's not going too well for Hotlanders, because they have put this Twisted Fate like down to 0 and 4. He still has 3 assists as well, and the Darius and the Jhin are both very, very strong right now, and they can just use the Twisted Fate as a gold card bot. They don't need the damage from the Twisted Fate at the moment, as there's not enough armor stacked yet to prevent the Darius and Jhin from really going off. So at the moment it's everything going garlic bread.
Yeah, they've actually secured themselves the first 2 dragons, as we see might be a play.
Yeah, they knock Floki back. He does have the Chrono Break back available, but no flash. Here comes Counter Cypher. That's good damage from the accuracy. Ignite is on as well. Floki uses the Chrono Break, but he's still on around 400 HP. Here comes Silver Wisp with the gold card. I don't think there's any escape here for the Echo. You can't turn back time that far. And here comes a clean kill on an overextended mid lane in the top.
And like you said, that yellow card bot, all that's needed, forces out the stopwatch, actually. Probably could have done better by saving that for Floki, as there was really no way you were making it out once you were that far surrounded by everybody. Really nice slow play from Depressed Llama there to just let them walk in and then not rushing, not bursting their cooldown straight away, and really just keeping it layered on top to keep Floki down. And this is going great for Jumba right now on this Jhin. With the Gale Force available, and with the amount of times Floki is being forced to burn their ultimate defensively and not have flash on the table, Jhin is living pretty. They're going to be funneling into Collector very soon, and that's only going to make these fights even better for if the Darius ever barely misses execute. If they ever just line up and it just takes away 5%, is a lot more on a tank than it is on a Ashe, for example.
Yeah, we saw there the attempt by the bot lane from Hostander Duascht. There's a Glacier Prison missing. But a very clutch blue trinket to save Vendorin from the gank there, and so nothing really happened there. And now the whole Garlic Bread Mafia are moving towards the bot side, where the FTK and Glotzen are a bit isolated there. Now Mark Kuchen is coming in, but against 5 people, I'm not sure how well they can defend this. The tower is already fallen, just through presence alone.
Yeah, and we see the bot lane actually backing now for the Host and Dush team, and I like this because it just gives them enough time to get back on the map for this dragon. Thing is, Floki won't have Zhonya's available, is top lane, and their top lane is getting jumped.
That's a very good group from the Jhin here, and everybody's here. Deuter uses the blast con over the wall. Here comes the curtain call. He's already so low HP. I don't think there's any way out of this one. They even managed to give the kill to Jumba. And I was just about to say that Vendorin is by around 2k gold, the richest player on the map. Jumba now just crossing that less than 2k behind him. And here comes Vendorin flank. Good grief. What an engage. Jumba's on a rampage. No chance for Hostander. Markoven trying to save what they can, but it's just not enough on any front. Floki now coming in as well, doing lots of damage, but too deep. He gets executed by the dunk from Vendorin. This Darius is absolutely unleashed, and Markoven will bleed to death as well. Vendorin is on a rampage. 4-0-3. Jumba 5-0-1. The gold beats almost 5,000. It will pick up a third dragon as well, being on soul point. Garlic bread looks very, very tasty right here.
And Silver Wisp down on their luck, but it's a stacked deck in their favor right there. We see dealing out these yellow cards to every carry on the enemy team, even with the Bronze Shield. It's not enough, because it doesn't matter who you stun there, you hold them both in place. And then we saw how to typo, she comes in with the ultimate, fears both of them in place, and frankly, it's just too much CC for these squishies to handle. Even the tanks are struggling to keep up with it at this point, and with how far behind Deuter and Magu is, it's really troublesome for them because they can't peel their carries. And if you can't stop Darius, they're just a machine and they're gonna get you all. We saw it right there.
Yeah, and Vendorin almost on 3 items now, in addition to that stride break. He's already finished the Deadman's Blade. He's on the way to what is presumably a Sterix gauge. And he's just so strong right now. The Jhin also has added a Collector to the Gale Force to be able to kill these tanks when they're low HP. And the Baron has been engaged by the Garlic Bread Mafia, and it doesn't look like it's going to be challenged.
Yeah, while the Ashe Hour has just revealed it now. They don't have the quickest Baron, so this is actually stoppable. Sejuani, flash available, has the smite. They are a level down though, so this is going to be tough.
Okay, HP on the Baron. They disengage when they see the teleport coming. They get the teleport for relatively little effort. And now Floki will have to stay around this mid-top side to ensure the Baron cannot just be taken.
And since the red team is so magic damage heavy in their tanks and with Echo, you do need to be very careful when you tempt these Barons, because Baron does shred your magic resist. So things like the Ornn ultimate could just come through there, and you could see them all lined up. They were ready to be turned into bowling pins if they were there for even a second more. So really good call from the Garlic Bread Mafia to back off there, get the free teleport. That sets them up to make a play and go for either this Baron again, try and force out more cooldowns, or potentially look for this Dragon Soul that, while is Cloud, isn't too bad for Darius, isn't too bad for Alistair. It's like there's some, like, as far as it goes, this is an okay team for Cloud Soul. Not a great team, still Cloud Soul.
Yeah, but the Cloud Dragons, 2 of them will help with the ultimate cooldowns, so Destiny is a really important one here. And also the execution Darius. But they also like the movement speed really much, especially Alistar, Darius, and Echo. Speaking of Alistar, here comes the knockup onto Mark He will use the blast gun to get back into the mid. Now they brought the enemy jungler, and he pushed him back out! Very well done from Depressed Llama. Around 750 IQ play, but now the Baron is still on 4k HP. Here comes Smokey trying to dive in, trying to salvage something. Ash arrow hits, he goes golden. There comes the Sejuani overflow. Here comes the dive back in from House of Typhon, but he's so low HP. There is the turnaround. Floki has killed the enemy jungler. Fenderin trying to stay alive with a Q. Double kill already for Floki with the Alistar falling as well, and Fenderin is just too low HP to make any difference at this point in time. They've stopped the Baron for the second time. Now, can they take it themselves? It doesn't look like it. Mark Cuban is on around 100 HP, can even survive the damage from the Baron. Saved by Glotzen, and now he'll have to stay around to try and smite when the time is there and try to not fall to the Baron. They do decide to get off of it, because Jin is still alive, and here comes the curtain call, but they're already out of range.
Bread Mafia, we warned you about this. It was literally what we said would happen. It was a nice idea to force out Ornn's TP, but you didn't have a plan to escape when they got there. They just stayed in the pit for too long, and just the fact that Sejuani got to bumper cars in and out of the pit so many times, they had absolutely perfect information on that Baron HP. No point were they worried. We know we have Sej with Flash. Ornn got the ultimate straight in as follow-up after the Echo W and the Brom ultimate with an Ash out. They just got to layer everything. It's exactly what they wanted from Champion Slate. First time we get to see it, the enemy already had shredded MR. So frankly, really thrown away of a lot of the lead that they had established up to this point for the Garlic Bread Mafia.
Yeah. The good news for them is they are still around 4,500 gold ahead. They are still on Soul Point with the Soul Dragon spawning in 45 seconds. Now they have teleport advantage 2-0. Deuter and Floki without the teleport. Fenderin and Silverwolf with both rocking theirs. Now the map truly belongs to them with this dragon spawning. They could even decide to swap objectives if they wanted. It was a hiccup, definitely a mistake. But I think they're still very much in the driver's seat of this game.
Certainly doesn't take them out of the game by any means. It just means that now we got to see Helstondush team work exactly how they wanted to. And they know, proof of concept, it works. So we can run it back. So you need to be very careful now for the Garlic Bread Mafia when you walk these objectives. But we may actually see a trade here. Baron for one dragon. Not good.
Yeah, speaking of running back things, they're on the Baron for the third time. Maybe this time they'll get it. Here comes the teleport from Darius to escape the collapsing team, but they're already walking towards the Baron. This time, it's very low already. 5k HP. They're about to run in. A tower has fallen in the top side, and now they get vision on this Baron. It's under 1,000, and it's stolen by Echo! Here comes the Ornhorn! It's disaster for Garlic Bread! Mark Rufen will kill Silverwisp, and there's another kill for Floki onto How to Typo. 2 dead already. The Baron stolen. Absolute shambles on the side of Garlic Bread, and now they're going to be turned into garlic crumbs as Jumper is collapsed on by Floki. Echo versus Jin. Oh, this could be actually a close one. The auto attacks are falling, and the shutdown goes to Jumper. Overconfident there from Floki. Still, the team will be happy with the result of this play.
Can you blame him for the confidence? Securing the team Baron after that? What a play by Floki there. Saving the game at that point. They could have gone for the death push from the Garlic Bread Mafia, but on the jaws of escape, despite having double smite, Silverwisp had smite, they didn't coordinate properly with the mid-jungle smites, so they end up losing the Baron in the only window they physically could. Excellent work by Floki, but a blunder from the Garlic Bread Mafia has now swapped the driver's seat, and you got to be careful because they want some garlic bread for dinner, and they're coming down that midline very soon.
Yeah, and they are thirsty, as their name suggests. Drink some beer along with the garlic bread. Thunderous Apprehend misses. The dragon is still very much on the table. It would still be the soul for the side of Garlic Bread Mafia, and it does look like Helstondush do not want to give them that soul. They do have the Baron buff. They're not using it to push lanes at the very moment, even though Floki has teleport. I'm interested to see why they decide that, if they want to make a heavy engage happen.
I think they're just worried about this Darius running through them at this point. They still haven't died, and Thunderin does have this pressure that the tanks have to actually be fearful of. And with just the indecisiveness, they've actually ceded mid lane power off of this. They just need to do something and stick to it. You have the tools, just do it.
Curtain opened, the Alistar is behind them. They are completely pinched. A double knock-up from the Alistar. FTK gets away from the curtain call. And in the backline, Echo is diving. Here comes the Ash. So much damage on the Thunderin. He doesn't have the Q available yet. He will be knocked up. The dragon has been taken by How to Typo for the soul. But Red Turret dies. Kills on both sides. But one ADC and one top laner have fallen. First death for Darius. And
but look at mid, Twisted Fate. They're getting the inhib.
Oh, there comes another knock-up onto Llama while Silver Wisp is taking the inhib. Floki's in the middle of 3 people. I don't know how he got there. He goes golden, but that will not save his life. He doesn't have the chrono break. He will die to Jumba. And now the chase is onto Globson and Markuchen. And Deuter might be too late to save the rest of his team. And here comes the charge in from Hecarim. Double kill already for Jumba. Braum is dead. Sejuani will follow. And now it's only Deuter against the world. 4 people chasing in with the Dragon Soul in their pockets. And Deuter will try to survive. Here comes the charge from Hecarim. How to fight the taking a couple of tower shots. Flash is available still for Deuter, but he didn't need it yet. Gold card is being held up by Silver Wisp. The mid lane inhib is what he took during that long fight. They went even though they didn't have their Twisted Fate, which is commendable. And they're going to be content for now with that inhibitor.
Yeah, daylight robbery from Silver Wisp here, using nothing but their ult, managing to get 2 mid lane turrets and an inhibitor off of it, and then coming back to continue with more picks. Very impressive. If it weren't for the blue card they pulled at the very end there, that could have been the end of the game, as they just got the chase down. Pretty much everything went in the favor of Garlic Bread Mafia there. How to Typo, she was a bit tilted by the Baron steal, so at this point, deciding to return the favor, and getting that soul for the team means that now there's Elder and Baron on the table. These are 2 very scary objectives that the tank team cannot deal with. It is almost lights out for the red team if they cede either of those objectives, so we're going to have to see how they play around those heading forward, with Twisted Fate pressuring, looking for another one of these backdoors.
Yeah, and still they have the problem of Jhin and Darius being ahead of the game, especially with Jhin now 8-0 and 3. Here comes the engagement of Silver Wisp. Dodges one thing, but cannot dodge the Glacial Prison. Floki will take a couple of tower shots, and Silver Wisp actually manages to survive. Floki now being flanked by Alistar. Jumba is legendary, and they have overextended. They went too deep just to kill one member. Don't even manage to do it. Both will lose their lives. 10 kills now for Jumba, and this could be the final nail in the coffin for this game.
Silver Wisp, you smooth criminal right there, putting out the works. Just the Zonya into the instant heal from Jumba in range. That really looked frame perfect the second they were out of that Zonya's. Perfectly saved the match to escape as we see more plays. Desperation here for the red team.
2v1 onto Thunderin, but at this point I don't think these 2 can do anything to him. They're both tanks, and he's a very fat Darius, and Silver Wisp coming in with the teleport to help his teammate, and they're chasing him. Deuter bleeds to death. Thunderin takes another kill for himself. Now they're diving the tower. I don't think he can take that many shots. And they back off while the rest of the team is taking the bot lane inhibitor.
But this is so tough now. What does the red team do? They don't have their Ornn available. They can't force onto the majority of the team. They're losing triple inhib here, no questions asked. It's just if they can hold on to the game.
Yeah, the problem is with triple inhibs down and Baron on the table, the chance of them winning this game is slimmer than finding no beer at a beer fest in Austria. It's getting very grim for them.
Yeah, this is going to need to come down to some kind of miracle steal. I will actually say it has to be from Floki, because I see it being extremely tough for the amount of map control that Garlic Bread Mafia have right now for this Sejuani to really sneak in anywhere. So this is just going to be if we can see another Echo play to try and one-tap the Baron before the smites come down. And frankly, even then, if you lose somebody, a 4v5 could just be the end of the game as it is, because as we saw right there, Darius can take 2 on their own, and that's not good odds for you.
Yeah, and also there's 6 super minions spawning every wave who are barreling down all the lanes, and they can't leave their base for long enough. The Baron has been engaged. It's around 9k HP, and they're all around to try and do something. Floki will teleport in. This is their last-ditch effort. This is their final play. And Garlic Bread Mafia just Peel off the Baron. The Ornhorn will knock up only the Anastasia. The engages here. Here come 4 people. Feared by the Onslaught of Shadows. There is in the middle of everybody. How to Typho gets the kill on FTK with the AD carry already dead. This fight is all but decided. Now this is just a thing of chasing them down and securing all the kills. This looks all too easy for the Garlic Bread Mafia. It's a clean ace at the back of this play. Even Llama survived this one. And the teleport coming in from Thunderin as well. It wasn't necessary, but it will make it a little bit quicker for them to end game 1 with a victory. 1-0 for the Garlic Bread Mafia. And now they'll be collecting their tax.
Indeed, and I really like that. That's a good one right there. I really like just how they managed to pull this early game comp into it and keep it snowballing through the mid game, despite not getting those initial leads that they really needed to. And Thunderin, despite being one of those players on the Garlic Bread Mafia that we didn't put too much focus onto, showing that they will pull out this carry pick and they will go off on one, which is really scary because that's another thing you need to ban now for the Host and Dush team. What do you get rid of instead? Because they have so many powerful picks like the Seraphine and the Anivia that are just meta monsters, even the Cassio for Tank Shred. You need to find a way to either counter this Darius in lane or get rid of it because it is going to be a problem heading into game 2.
Yeah, and also their mid lane difference wasn't all too much of a mid lane difference. Sure, they got a couple of early kills onto Silver Wisp on this Oh, did my voice not get? Okay, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. We are here in Valence League on our second division in the first match of the season for these two teams. Garlic Bread Mafia lead 1-0 over Horst and Duascht. Both new teams. Very interesting game one. I'm Motojam here with Melvin Izzle. How do you think this game is going to affect the rest of the series?
Hello, hello. Well, I am looking forward to seeing what hits the ban bench this game. We got to see, for a little recap for anybody, Thenderen's Darius go off on one that game. Not the pick we expected to really show up in the game. It was a champion we knew they played and did very well into the tank skirmish kind of death ball comp that Haustendush tried to put together. And while both teams pretty much got exactly what they wanted for all intents and purposes, we did see it go very much in favor of the Garlic Bread Mafia, even though they didn't get the early game that they really wanted. As soon as it came to fighting around dragons, they were just ahead on the map. The Darius was too big for them to control. And while there were glimmers where it looked like the big team fight power was coming back into it, and it was almost a bit inevitable, they managed to end out the game just ahead of time, even through a Baron loss. They pulled it together in a big team fight that just completely wiped the enemy into the end of the game.
Yeah, and in addition to that, yeah, Darius, the Jhin was just completely untouchable in the backline there, with the Alistar in front of him, with the Darius having to be dealt with, and a Hecarim just running around everywhere. The Jhin was just standing in the backline, firing the shots, dealing a lot of damage, and going 11-0 in the game. Jumbo will be very happy with that first game.
Yeah, looking forward to see what actually gets pulled out this time. We saw a lot of focus onto the bot lane and the jungle in the first rotation last game. So now it'll be looking to see which champions start getting picked up if they have to opt to ban out the Darius early, or if it gets pulled out. Things like this. There were other champions like the Cassio that were problematic that they decided to just opt away from. So something will make it through that first rotation. And what I'm excited to see is things like the Shen start to sneak in, because there is the potential to leave Darius open if you can get a good matchup into it. But because of how Haustendosh tried to play, they are very one note with their style. It's a good note of full, I like to call it Clash style, because this is the comp you'd want if you're playing Clash together, of you just have very coordinated, everybody goes in, it's very clear what your team wants to do, and that works really well when you need that like firm macro presence of, okay, well, we can all see how we want to play out the team fights. Brom, you disengage. Ornn, you get the big initiate, follow up with Sejuani, and then Ashe just pokes from the sideline. But the second a Darius hits you with 2.5 items in the middle of a team fight, it's really hard to keep your plan going.
Yeah, definitely. Just as you, I'm very interested to see, will they ban the Darius? Do they have a counter pick for it if they don't ban it? Or will they just try to sit back and focus everything on the bot lane this time? So when the Darius dies in, there's not enough follow-up damage to really capitalize on the fed Darius. We'll have to see what they choose to do. They definitely need to change something. And I'm really looking forward to see what these guys have in store for us. As they've only played one game in our league, I don't think they've shown us everything yet.
No, certainly not. And this is still first week jitters. Like we said, both of these teams almost fully new, with the exception of Jumba, so no surprise that they performed so well. Completely new to the league. And it's now just down to if the Haustendush, who are a team of friends who have been playing together for a while, not as a team setting, but they've known each other for, I believe it was 15 years they have known each other. So they already have that inbuilt kind of synergy. It's just translating it to the game. And you could see it in some of the fights where they picked up from each other quite nicely. And now it's time to find out what actually gets through. We see same bans as last game, I'm pretty sure, same order. taking away that prime Kai'Sa that can really threaten their backline. And what, if anything, changes? Does Jhin get first picked again for Garlic Bread?
Yeah, no changes in bans from Garlic Bread. Now let's see if the Darius or the Jhin will have to go to the bench from the side of Horst and Duascht, or if they choose to stay the same and just adjust their draft.
I think as far as the game plan went, it worked, like, in theory. I didn't have a problem, and they deciding that no, draft wasn't the problem, it was just the execution, which I don't hate. It was just mainly the Darius snowballing as far as they did. And right now we're seeing basically just the straight up run back. I think this is identical to the first game's draft. We'll have to see Syndra now coming in different. That is already a pivot from the Echo.
Yeah, a champion that can one-shot the Jhin from range will definitely help getting that champion under control. I think much better than the Echo, who has to dive in himself to do any kind of damage to that Jhin.
And also Floki on this Syndra does innately shut down options like the Cassio, like the Seraphine. These are problem picks that it's hard for Silver Wisp to deal with. This is a big flex pantheon, though. 3 of the players on Garlic Bread Mafia play this, and frankly, it could go in any of those positions pretty competently. So we'll have to see what happens into the second rotation. Flex picks like this are really scary on the blue side, because it makes it so hard to do bans in the second rotation, because there's no reliable way to keep it going, and they could just put it elsewhere. We see Alistair, that pick that Depressed Llama did so well on last game, coming back out again.
Yeah, does show their colors a little bit though, so because it means the Pantheon will definitely not be a support champion, so probably either jungle or top lane. I'm not expecting Silver Wisp to.
They have
bring
got
it
some
first.
games on it, just a few, but not too many. I expect it to likely go to How to Typo, as she has got a fair few games on the Pantheon, and it didn't really seem like top lane's wheelhouse, so it's a flex pick in theory. It's just if they want to chuck it around. It was support that I was expecting it to go to if it didn't get put, and we see the Darius, like we said, executed from the draft.
Yeah, they haven't picked it up first phase, and now Horst and Duascht are thirsty for banning that one. They get it away. Thunderon will have to play something else. He does have quite the amount of champions that can be a similar threat. I'm thinking things like the Renekton, always very dangerous if ahead. Leona gone for Glotzen.
Yeah, I think that Shen should come out in all theory, because if we just see the run back of Ornn, with the only exception from Halstendush changing being that Syndra for Echo swap in the mid lane, then I can still like the idea of the Ornn. Brom is available, but isn't obviously going to be picked when Alistair's already locked in. So, frankly, we may see a very similar comp, which is what we expected from the Halstendush team. Of you could tell what they're going to do. But they actually decide that the Twisted Fate was enough of a problem that they don't want it when they are rocking this Syndra in the mid lane.
Yeah, it is a champion that not necessarily is the danger in lane, but can be all over the map, no matter how much you put it down, as we talked about earlier. The gold card, always a reliable CC option. Point and click stun from range is very, very rare in League of Legends these days. So the ban makes a lot of sense. I think the Shen you were talking about is off the table as well. Speaking of global ultimates, the Garlic Bread Mafia don't want a global ultimate on the other team either. So here comes the Thresh for Glotzen.
That's exciting. This is Glotzen's best pick right now. They are a Thresh player through and through, which means that there's 2 players once again on their comfort, both Makuan and Glotzen playing their Sejuani and Thresh. This is a duo that they are pretty happy to rock. And while the Sejuani doesn't actually have any melee champions for their passive this game, I can only assume that we'll see a beefy tank coming out in the top lane. Potentially that, well, not Ornn actually, now it's taken off the table. Might have to resort to Scion or something in the like now for Deuter.
I find it very interesting that they put Thunderon, a player who played a carry style in the first game, to be put on Ornn. Maybe he just wants to show Deuter, here, this is how I play this champion. Watch and learn. We shall see. The ADC pick, or rather the mid lane
That
pick,
is
looks
mid
good.
lane.
No, this is a full AD comp, which does have its dangers, but with only 1 tank for the moment on the side of Horst and Duascht, I think it can work, and it's already a comp that can push very hard.
Yeah, if Malphite was still on the table, then this would be something I'd be worried of. But nice banning coming out here, getting rid of the Shen, recognizing that they're opting for a lot of on-hit, and we see the Mordekaiser. That was a pick that I had not seen basically anywhere in my research. So we'll have to see how Deuter pilots this one into the Ornn. It's one of those pseudo options, as we talked about Brom being good for blocking the Ornn ult. If Mord takes them away before they get the second cast, then well, it's basically the same principle, but the only thing is Ornn now has outplay potential, because if they save that unstoppable W for when the Mord goes to ult them, then it pretty much just nullifies the entire ability for Deuter. So this is a lot more skill intensive now when it comes to trying to manipulate those fights.
Yeah, seeing the full AD comp, I definitely had expected a tank to come through, especially something like the Poppy, with how many dashes we see on the other side. But the Mordekaiser will give Deuter the option to have some kind of control in the game himself, right? To win his lane against the Ornn and to translate that success on the rest of the team. Take out the most fed player, or as you said, the Ornn mid ult, to swing a team fight in their favor.
Now, that is for
Going
certain.
to have to see how well this works. Yeah, go on.
Well, just all I was going to say is looking at it, it's about, for me, how to typo, how she can pilot this Pantheon. It is their second pick behind the Kindred for this season. And I did have down that they do like these powerful level 3 ganking champions. Whether they actually execute on that and can force potentially an early flash out of pretty much anybody short of the Sejuani is going to be needless to say. And with Silverwisp on this Tristana, Floki is going to be very scared in lane. They need to hold that stun for their life to make sure that they do not just get jumped on and one shot, even as early as level 2.
Yeah, will definitely be something we have to look out for. Shout out to Strucio6736, who wants to be credited for that Poppy idea. Bad news for you is I play Poppy a lot, so it was in the back of my mind. But credit to you for pointing it out for the folks there in Twitch chat. So, looking at these compositions, looking at what the dangers will be for each team, now it's for you again to help me decide who we think is going to win this game.
Oh, okay. I mean, just looking at what we know from last game, I would hand this over to the Garlic Bread Mafia because we did see a really nice performance from Jumba and Depressed Llama in the bot lane on these exact same picks. And while now Glotzen is on their Thresh, that does have a lot better time into the Alistair for being able to disengage that. It's going to struggle in some of these fights when Pantheon's jumping on. They can only flay so much, and there's a lot of good things to flay. So coming into this, it's going to be very much around them trying to be the positional focus for the team, and it's watching where Glotzen is, because they are going to be so essential with this Lantern. Floki and FDK are pretty much sitting ducks for this Ornn. When that ult comes down, those two need to be out of there. So it's going to be all down to how well they manage this Lantern cooldown. So I think this time for ease of execution, I'm handing it over to Garlic Bread just because they have winning lanes. For the most part, bot lane, we saw that they can pilot it pretty competently into the Ashe. Mid lane, this is Tristana going to be Goomba stomping onto this Syndra in these early levels. Pantheon, enough said, it's Pantheon. She's going to be very powerful playing this pick in these early few levels. So they're going to be able to snowball. And we saw it last game. They have the potential to end earlier than expected. And even if they don't, they have a Tristana and an Ornn. Like, that's not bad scaling by anybody's metric.
Yeah, good that you mentioned scaling because that was something I was gonna talk about a little bit as well. They have definitely strong scaling champions like the Tristana and the Ornn. I just say in the late game, I see Duascht Gaming's composition be a little bit ahead just because it's full physical damage on the other side. They have a Sejuani in the Thresh that at some point will get very tanky, and Syndra will get very hard to control once on full items. They have the Ornn to dive onto her and point and click stun from the Pantheon, but the range of the Pantheon isn't that high, and the Alistar as well, as long as the flash is down. So these are going to be the summoners that Host and Duascht will have to look at the most to keep their Syndra and their Ashe safe, and then they can make things happen in late game, but they will have to survive the early onslaught, definitely. Ample as synchronization is happening.
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And we are live on Summoner's Rift. 1-0 is the lead for Garlic Bread Mafia on the blue side once again. With a very aggressive composition against Horst and Duascht Gaming. Maybe the invade happens this time. What do you think?
Well, this is an identical start for just running to where they were last time. And frankly, I think I preferred both teams from last game, at least comp-wise, for the invade. So if neither of them opted for it then, I doubt either are going to opt for it this time. We may see Halstendeutsch push a bit further, though, because they are on the back foot. And as we see, they are opting for it.
Yeah, they're walking forward at least. Maybe they try to get some vision down, but
this is scary.
See the hook coming in. Glotzen walks right into 5 people knocked up by the Orn. He's just gonna die to the bomb. First blood goes to how to type another chases on Makuchen. Will fall as well. It's a real double kill for the Pantheon. This is horrible news for Hostandish. Floki flashes over the wall. There's a depressed Lama right in his face. Triple knock up from the Alistar. In the flashes have been used for Thunder and flashes for Floki on 1 HP. There comes the heal to save them. And they will manage to walk out. Or will they? How to type of flashes forward for the spear. There comes the slow from the volcanic rupture. Floki still not safe. Flash from Jumper. And he gets the kill onto Floki. 3 kills. Sub 1.5 minutes. The most horrible start they could have imagined for their game while being 0-1 down. Garlic Bread are smelling blood in the water.
It's going to be a bit of a problem. How to typo, she's going to be a bit deadly now. 2 kills on this snowballing pick with the electrocute as well on top of that. So the burst from this Pantheon is going to be insane. As soon as she takes her first recall here, you are going to be sweating every time you are out of vision and within jump range. And while Goita is going to be able to at least skirmish a bit in this top lane, it's going to be super rough. We saw Syndra, they actually had to start E there just to try and keep himself alive. And Floki down 2 summoners, they're going to be even more terrified of this lane without Flash.
There's root landing on FTK on the Ashe, already down, sub 300 HP. Depressed Llama takes a lot of damage as well. Deuterium is doing lots of damage back on Fenderin though. That is a start for the Mordekaiser as we see how to typo on the bot side of the map, clearing that side of the jungle fully. Depressed Llama, it does not stop going forward, and another root lands onto Glotzen. Both bot laners from Hostandish have their flashes still available, but this is relentless pressure.
Yeah, 2 of the only remaining flashes in the game left. It's actually just the blue team with all these flashes down. Frankly, while you're not as favored in these early few levels, Halstendeutsch needs to look for something while the enemy is completely flashless. So this is going to be watching to see if Magkun can do something on the Sejuani. They need to get a level 3 gank, level 4, try and maybe force something on this bot lane and give your Ashe a bit more prevalence. Because considering Jhin is sitting there on a kill's worth of gold and 2 assists, they're going to be spiking way faster, and they need to watch out for it.
Yeah, he basically started the lane at around 400 gold. Not a good prospect for FTK after we see the first recalls come through from both of them. Surprisingly, Deuterium, even though he had won these early trades pretty hard, he is down in CS by around 1 minion wave. There's a lot of minions he can still pick up.
Yeah, this is just an activity in CSing on the tower. As we see right now, just the prio that this Tristana gets. Ooh. Well then, that was, yeah.
It was working as planned.
Calculated.
FTK was probably happy to be pushed away there, but still taking a lot of poke from this game.
Yeah, Depressed Llama is very proactive. They're just not the most accurate when they are proactive. You have seen it more than once in just the first game where they've got the initial knockback, but then not followed it up with the Pulverize immediately after. But right now, Glotzen's quite far up this lane, and Alistair's in range.
Play, but FTK is taking so much damage. Ignite is down onto Jumbo, but Depressed Llama came in from the side, flash away from the Ashe. Now Glotzen has to walk away. He has no mana. Here comes the Pantheon. Can he hit the spear? No, he's too far away. FTK and Glotzen will walk away with their lives, but short a flash for the ADC.
Yeah, and how to typo, we see she's had her first back now, and is sitting on a full serrated Dirk plus boots at 3-5 minutes. That is one-shot territory beyond belief. And frankly, it's just going to give them a free Infernal Dragon. But while not the most, is still going to be some extra AD for this Pantheon. She has 115 AD currently at 5 minutes. That's terrifying.
Oh, Fenderin, I don't know if you want that trade against the Mordecai. The Dragon falls. That is some extra damage. Also for the Ornn. Deuterium has taken quite the amount of damage as well in that trade, though. So will recall for some items. Top lane, despite how it looked, is pretty much exactly even, except for the 3 assists that Fenderin has from that level 1 invasion.
Yeah, and problem being is that unlike the Darius, Mordekai's a pre-6 doesn't have this same level of kill threat. We saw Fenderin pull out that pretty nutty, like level 4 I think it was, kill with the flash Q. That put Deuter pretty much out of the game for all intents and purposes. Mordekaiser just doesn't have that same threat. Their E is far more predictable and doesn't enable these same kind of trades. And now that we see both top laners taking over to 6, this is the time when we need to see Deuter make a play after one of these big skirmishes that gets them snowballing. Because that's what they need to actually keep their team in the game with the lead that they have already lost out on. It's only 1,000 gold, but it's still a lot in this early level. We see a TP!
The teleport from Tristana, right behind the enemy team. FDK will be shot backwards away from their own tower, tries to walk into the river, gets the lantern. Can he live? He lives on 1 auto attack. HP the flank comes in Silverwist. Can he get the auto attack? He cannot. Gets the heal from Jumper to live. Here comes the snipe from Jumper from downtown. Another kill. Draw garlic bread. Here comes the Ornhorn onto Deuter. The Pantheon is here as well. Mordekaiser is level 6. Can make this a 1v1 for a short time. But look at the damage from the Pantheon. There was no chance from the very beginning to live through that.
And no options being left for Halstendeutsch. They are being put in the ground, as we see an attempt by Floki.
That was very good.
Oh no, they started their corrupting potion after they did their combo. If they'd done it first, the burn would have killed them. That's tragic.
Silverwist was on 9 HP after that Q hit. Yeah, the corrupting would have definitely done it. Deuter chasing an Ornn here. He has the E available claw, misses though. Deuter with a good searing charge, Fenrir with a good searing charge to get out of this one. Lives to tell the tale. 5-0 in kills, a dragon to their name. On the way to a perfect game. 7.5 minutes, 2,500 gold. Belly.
Yeah, this is not where you want to be right now. The snowballing pick of the Pantheon. Out of typo, she is piloting this much more proactively than the Hecarim from last game. Reasonable to say, but now with this ultimate, Floki isn't even safe to step forward in their own lane. Regardless of HP lead, we saw how hard they were camped last game. And Depressed Llama, once again, roaming their way to mid. That was actually how that last play started, was the bot lane for FDK and Glotzen just assumed, well, this Alistar wasn't in lane for like 80% of last game, so it's pretty safe for us to take the play. But it was just a bait, and we see now they're doing it again!
Oh no, here comes the ultimate from Pantheon. Look at the damage onto Glotzen. He has the lantern thrown out towards FDK. Flashes away now with the lantern flying, but this will not save the Thresh Lad. Here comes the curtain call. FDK gets hit by 2, 3, 4 bullets, not only 3, so that means the Ashe will live to tell the tale for now, but it's another easy kill in the bot side of the map. And yeah, they were just too far forward with a Pantheon and an Alistar behind them.
Yeah, it's so hard to play against with this kind of just enemy comp. Oh no.
Oh no, and now they're chasing Markhofen in their own jungle, gets stunned up by the Alistar, flashes over the wall, is ignited, the spear lands, the ignite gets the kill, 7-0. They're not even as good as Brazil, they don't have their own goal yet.
Oh, I feel so bad for Glotzen on this Thresh. They've done like some really nice mechanical things just to try and keep their ADC alive, but look at this. How do you play against this? It's relentless!
Stopping. Depressed Llama could be too deep in here though. Loki has a lot of damage. The enemy, Silverwist is here. The stun lands. Depressed Llama gets. They now have Brazil stats, but it's ruined again. This how-to typo is unstoppable. 9.5 minutes into the game. In the death round, Fenderin tries to survive against Deuter. Gets a charge, but not a knockup. It does look like Deuter will pick up this kill. Flash away from Fenderin. A Q kills him though. Deuter with the solo kill in the top lane.
And a bit of shining light that Halstendeutsch needs at this point in the game. It is so rough. Just the sheer early game pressure of Depressed Llama. And playing against this Jhin, it's so hard to force. Oh no, but the counter TP, this could go right for them.
Yeah, this could be a big shutdown because Deuter... Oh no, Typo is dominating, flashes away. Here comes the shutdown though. 800 gold in the pockets of Floki. Great TP there from the Syndra. But they don't even manage to not have someone die to this Pantheon. She's just so far ahead on it. Now Glotzen is being attacked once again on the Thresh. Will manage to live with the help of the shield from their own Lantern. It's already half HP, and the Cursed Llama has been absolutely relentless with these Alistar engages, and I don't expect that to stop anytime soon.
Yeah, we thought Darius was the problem, but clearly it was just Llama. They are feeling themselves this game, constantly going just in every witch angle, making full use of this Hex Flash plus Phase Rush combo. You could see the smooth moves right there. If it weren't for Floki being Syndra and having the skill button with R, they would have actually managed to survive that right there, going in level 5 against a level 8 mid laner.
Yeah, by the way, very bad news for Duascht. I see Eclipse in the inventory of
God.
11 minutes into the game. Tier 2 boots plus mythic item done. This is a scary Spartan on the side of the Garlic Bread Mafia. Penderon has pushed in this top lane, has the teleport available, but they could have a man advantage at this dragon that is spawning. Rather has spawned. Yeah, How to Typo is already on it. If they want to come in.
Yeah, this spear.
Any beyond even. Penderon has no TP to his name. So
good night, Floki.
Dragon already picked up. They're perfect on dragons so far. 6-0 over for the match. Now Floki gets collapsed on in the mid lane. On Horn lands. Here comes the flash from the Alistar. No escape. Absolutely ruthless.
Oh lord.
Silverfish gets a kill for himself.
I can hear Seinfeld music. Ugh, this is brutal. Oh no, and it never ends.
Oh, it never ends. Here comes How to Typo with the ultimate onto Mordekaiser. Does have the Death Realm available, but the E will block a lot of damage. Here comes Ornn for the reinforcements. The Death Realm is about to time out, and with that, the life of Mordekaiser should be ending very soon. Knockup lands from Penderon. They get the kill onto How to Typo. 7-1. 12 minutes and 20 seconds into the game. This is a destruction on another level, this game.
Leave him alone. He had his one Dark Seal stack. He was just happy there, pushing in the tower, and oh lord. How to Typo, she is running this game always around the map. That level 1 is just so catastrophic. When you're against a snowballing team, you don't want to invade, because it could go exactly like this, and this is going to turn negatively if there's not a Lantern to save them soon.
Yeah, Markuchen way too early on the gank. There is the ultimate. There comes the Asher as well, but Jumper still fairly healthy. Uses the heal, but will definitely need to flash after. The shutdown goes to FTK, but here comes Silverwisp from the flank. It's a 3v2, or is it? Here comes Syndra. Silverwisp has gotten FTK very low. Gets the death sentence it is. Floki gets another kill for himself. That is a strong Syndra, and they turn the play around. Well done by Duascht. Something
great
finally goes right for them.
That was great CC stacking right there. Perfect Syndra stun into the hook from Glotzen. Actually getting to play their champions, that's a nice feeling. Now, they're all getting this bot lane plating, but the thing is, Pantheon, How to Typo, she's mid lane, they're getting all of it for themselves. This is another 500 gold instantly funneled onto this Pantheon pick. She is going to be walking away from this easily the richest person in the game. 7,500 gold to the next highest of Syndra's 5,500. That is disgusting how far ahead of the game she is. That's a full item above most of the people actually in the game. And you're going to see it the next time they hit the base.
Yeah, this is scary stuff. I was going to say, Garlic Bread Mafia are playing the map so well with 2 teleports, and of course that Grand Starfall available. Everybody's everywhere all the time, and they're not giving a moment's respite to Duascht. We're trying another play with the Lantern here. It does look like the hook misses, though. The Pressed Llama will be able to walk away from this fairly.
While nothing amounts from that, it's still good to send props over to the Duascht bot lane for that play. We saw Macklin on this Sejuani. They started the fight what looked like too early, but they kept it going for long enough that the bot was able to follow up. Great stopwatch usage, and they managed to get the outplay as we see skirmishes across the map.
Silver Wisp had to jump away there from Marco who in the bot lane. They have tried to play with how to typo. So far, no summoners, no kills. But it's 90 seconds till the dragon, so the vision war is going to be beginning. Now we see Tristana working into that blue side jungle. And I'm thinking we see some skirmishes soon. Now the top laners are fighting each other again. Here comes the Death Realm. That's another Q onto Fender, and he's in big, big trouble. Can he get away? The Death Realm Elm's right there. He doesn't have a way to escape. Tries to go the other way around, but Deuter just needs one Q to hit. Good flash away from Fender, and here comes the Claw. Here comes another solo kill for Deuter. He is their shining light this game so far. But here comes Silver Wisp trying to capitalize on this one. Jumps in, gets a couple of auto attacks. No Death Realm available. Another W, but that one, he takes 2 tower shots, and Deuterum gets the 1v2. He gets 2 solo kills for himself. That was way too aggressive from Silver Wisp to jump under the tower as Tristana.
The Man of Metal shrugging them off right there. Those bullets did absolutely nothing to Deuter. They went in for the second rocket jump, and just the sheer burst, they were not expecting the isolated Mordekaiser Q. That pumps out double damage to what it's doing when it's hitting minions. And if you're not ready for it, like they were right there, you can see what happens. Bit too aggressive, doing their best humanoid impression from LEC this week. Jumping in a little bit too aggressive. And does in fact cede all of the pressure that they had just built up for this dragon with a 2-level lead to Deuter in this top lane. This is actually definitely not a lost objective anymore.
Yeah, he is an experienced Mordekaiser right now, and slightly ahead in that top lane as well, gold-wise 400 above Fender and on the Ornn. Now we'll see both teams congregate around this dragon. Deuterion has actually walked himself here. Fenderin is waiting to teleport down, it seems. Wants that top lane tower for himself. But here comes the teleport. Markuchen has engaged. Flash away from how to typo. Now the Tristana looked like she was caught, but jumps away. The Ornhorn has been sounded. Double knockup onto Roxen and the Mordekaiser. Deuteron is so low. The chases him. Jumper gets another kill on the Jhin. He has opened the curtain, and Markuchen dashes away. Here comes the jump from Silver Wisp. One more auto will kill him. The Ash arrow goes wide. Boom! Goes the bomb. Silver Wisp gets the kill. And here comes the Grand Star for how the typo kills Floki. She will kill another member of the enemy team in Glotzen. And now the chase is on to the last surviving one. FTK will be dope because Lama presses the ultimate to suppress enough damage to make this dive an easy ace. And a clean ace at 17.5 minutes. Not that clean, apparently. Slava will fall to the tower. But they get on soul point once again, this time even earlier than last game. They get the Mountain Dragon, the first one of the game. They get the bot lane tower. And now their gold lead is almost 6,000.
Yeah, I'm certain that Depressed Llama could have walked out of the tower there and been completely fine, but little Spicer BM at the end there does get them killed to that turret. And the thing that we saw that went wrong there was Deuter did not have ultimate. So when the Ornn TP'd in, despite being in the middle of the enemy team, nobody could stop them actually getting the full Ornn horn, like there was last game with the Brom on the same team. There was no actual way to deny this Ornn. With the ult having been used in that outplay top lane, Deuter came in, and Mordekaiser without ult is really not that much of a champion. Like, if you jump into him and actually just kill yourself, then, you know, he can do stuff, but they aren't actually able to get onto you, nor do they offer too much of these big team fights, as we saw there, without that super valuable tool. So what ended up happening is it just turned into everybody getting knocked up simultaneously on the Hellstendeutsch team, and that went really poorly, as we saw, and sets up for the Dragon into Riftel. Soul point available at 21.
They're making another play here. Depressed Llama jumping into Markuchen, but they're not following up with it. They're just happy to get the vision around this Riftel that they are picking up right now. It's going into the pocket of who else but how to typo. 9-1-4 on the Pantheon. Despite the earlier death, still, or rather again, a 400 gold shutdown to their name. And the pressure will be mounting with 40 seconds until the Baron Nashor spawns.
And looking forward for this game, really the best way that how to Deutsch can get back into this is it's just trying to get something off of Deuter with this Mordekaiser ultimate. As QSSs have not come in yet, there is no way to escape the Mord outside of Alistair ult, so they can still reliably kidnap and try and take on these 1v1s, but so long as those ADCs have Gale Force and Flash, they're not getting trapped.
Well, Silver Wisp may have bitten off more than he can chew here. Here comes the chase from Mark Kuchen. He could win the 1v1, actually. Silver Wisp gets away with the help of that Buster Shot, though. Loki was waiting in the wings, so that would have definitely been deadly for that percent.
That was a bit of Sunfire gameplay right there. We see more of it right now.
Oh, here comes another Death Realm attempt onto Venderin, but he's safely under his tower. Here comes the Collar of Vodka, misses the second blow, gets dragged in by the claw. One more auto does it. Deuterium with another solo kill in the top lane. And that was just misplayed from Venderin there.
I didn't want to say it when they pressed the ult, but you could just tell that it was going to happen. That was tragic. Oh no, they really just were standing there at the edge of the wall for too long. We're like, oh no, I'm an on, I can tank this. But before we say anything...
Reverse Llama, Hex Slash over the wall, that put someone away, but it's just not enough. Here comes the Claw. He will pay with his own life for that overextension. They get some damage onto the tower, but not enough to kill it. Meanwhile, Silver Wisp has killed the bot lane tower, I think.
I would say that...
alive.
The Press Llama is the best Alistar I've ever seen that doesn't do QW.
Oh, here comes the engage from Silver Wisp onto Floki. The outplay button comes through from the Syndra, but it's not enough to kill the Tristana. Uses another few auto attacks, and Floki gets away safely. They're not done fighting. They want to keep us on their toes here. Deuterium on very low HP. The curtain has been called. Mark Kuchen will be standing in front of that top laner now to secure an escape. For now, no deaths. Here comes the jump forward from How to Typo. That might have been too aggressive. 4 people calling. Here comes the Ash Arrow. The shield is just not big enough. Pantheon with the E saves another few rounds of damage, but the shutdown goes to FTK nonetheless. Too aggressive from that Pantheon. The chase is on. TP comes from the flank as well from Floki. Jumper trying to get themselves away. Here comes the Scatter the Weak. FTK is on a rampage. They managed to get the ADC safely out, but still 2 deaths for the side of the Garlic Bread Mafia, and it looks like they're getting a bit overconfident this one.
They really are. They got off to such a decisive lead. They could have closed it out so cleanly after that. But just the constant attempts at plays like they did in the first game, it's just not needed in this one. And it is actually putting them in more of a hole than they had any right to be. Now, unlike the first attempt at the Mounted Dragon contest, Deuter does have the Mordekaiser ultimate, so this will be a very different story heading into the Dragon. We saw a lot of cooldowns burnt there. Jumper now does not have flash, so they do need to be careful of this Sejuani, who, regardless of the ult, can still threaten. Gale Force is even on cooldown, and that got nerfed on this patch, so right now, if the Halston Deutsch team is paying attention, they can take advantage of this Jhin before this fight and force something almost instantly.
Yeah, they have a strong AD carry of themselves. FTK is not quite as rich as Jumper is, but there were a few shutdowns into the Atlas. Here comes the knock-up onto Deuter though. The ult will only keep him alive so long. Now he's in a 1v1 against the Ornn, but the rest of the fight is already on and he's so low HP. Marco coming in from the flank. They have the Syndra there, but there's Alistar on top of her. How to Typo takes a lot of damage. Silver Wisp jumps into everybody, but that does not do anything. They get the shutdown onto the AD carry. Double knock-up from the Alistar. The Press Llama is doing everything. They're not looking away. All that depressed right now. The chase is on, and the curtain has been opened. The knock-up secures the shot, and a fight that looked very bad at the very beginning turns out to be a win. 4 kills for 2 for one actually for the side of the Garlic Bread Mafia, and they pick up the Dragon Soul on the back end.
So when I said it was going to look very different at that Dragon, I meant to say it's going to look almost identical, but with a couple less deaths. Because clearly, they did not get the memo from the first attempt, and it was just not funneling in together because of how long the fight beforehand had gone on. They didn't get their resets for the red team until 20 seconds before the objective, and that is not enough time to reliably get there, get vision, and actually play the game. So, like we see now, an attempt at a Baron contest here, but the jungler is not going to be in range quick enough, and he's jumping the wall.
Rama jumps out of that, but with the double AD carry and the Pantheon, the Baron just falls so fast, picked up by the Garlic Bread Mafia. With a little hiccup in between, they now are again at a very big lead. 6,000 gold and a Dragon Soul and a Baron buff to their name. I would be very surprised if they do not finish this game up within the next 5 minutes.
Yeah, and even if they don't, funnily enough, you say that, there is a Hilda Dragon and a Baron 2 coming up. Both of these even bigger objectives than the first Baron, and will certainly be enough tools to end the game. The only thing being that they do spawn within a minute of each other, which means it's actually a lot easier for Halstendeutsch to flip it and just say, we're taking one, you go for the other, because of how close together they spawn. So we might actually see hope for them in the game, as we know for a fact, many times this game, Garlic Bread Mafia does maybe go a little bit too ham. And in this kind of situation where they're splitting the map, this is the ideal time for those Ash Arrows, those Syndra stuns to get picks.
Oh, Typo trying their luck onto Floki, but there's Mark Hofen right behind. This is a lot of damage onto the Pantheon already. They have Silver Wisp around the corner to try and help, but here comes the Mordekaiser. Silver Wisp jumps in at the moment that Mordekaiser comes around the corner. The bomb could kill Floki, and it does, but the shutdown onto How to Typo comes in as well. They died meanwhile in the mid lane. Just kill FDK was left alone by his team. And that is a 2-for-1 across the map, but they have the Baron buff to push still, and the Garlic Bread Mafia will be very happy with that.
And How to Typo, she really dragged that one out for much longer than it had any right to. And due to how long that fight went on for, we actually see double towers coming down now for the Garlic Bread Mafia. This inhib is exposed, but not taken. I think it's fine if they leave it up. And they can now pressure this top inhib with Tristana shredding towers on the bot side if she's left alone.
Yeah, remember they still have that Baron Nashor buff, I think for a little while longer.
Minute left on it, I believe.
That will make it so difficult. Hototypo has respawned. The fight is going on now, but already Sejuani is almost dead. The Ash Arrow hits, but not enough. The chases of Duascht oops the Jin. This could be what turns it around. Tenrin tanking so much damage from 3 members of Halstendeutsch, but will fall eventually. Glotzen takes the kill here. Deuterum has not won his 1v1 against Dumba. Finally, the Jin falls. And somehow they managed to win the fight. It was a 5v3. It took them quite a while, but they killed all 3 members without losing much more on the map. But they're in the tower in the bottom lane. Big win for Halstendeutsch.
They did drop the inhib though, as I believe in an alternate life, Silver Wisp was a Tryndamere main who just split push for their entire existence.
Oh no. I don't think there's escape here. The death sentence lands. How to Typo trying to save the mid laner, but this could be their own death as well. Silver Wisp has already fallen. How to Typo now being chased by 4 members of the enemy team. Should not have tried to save their mid laner. This is something you learn in Solo Queue 101. If someone of your team is caught alone, don't try to save them.
Now, as a jungle main who likes Pantheon, I can go out and say that, you know what, it was a bad decision, but I think I would have made it too. Sometimes you just see your mid laner inting and it's like, well, if I save them, they're never asking for another blue buff again. So, as far as it goes, not a great decision, but also not a super impactful one either is the main thing. Yes, it hands over some gold, but How to Typo, she no longer has shutdown on them, so that didn't give over more than the 300. Very Spartan. But then looking through the rest of the map, with that inhib down, no objectives up for 2 minutes, it's not going to do much, because they were just waiting for this Elder Dragon to spawn anyway. So this is all about if, well, Deuter can just walk at this Ornn much more. What I was going to say is how quickly they set up around this dragon. The dragon is so big. People are surviving these fights on slivers. Deuter lived that fight on maybe 200 HP in Zhonya's. If they can get this dragon, then that just pivots whichever team. Syndra will be level 16, skill button, R, onto somebody with Elder Dragon. Neither of the carries, nay, none of the carries, including Pantheon, could survive that. So, what we need to see is the setup now. They're getting the reset in. They're going to try and get some vision control on their bot side. Deuter is shoved out top sufficiently. Let's see what happens at this Elder.
Yeah, well done though by the side of Garlic Bread. They're pushing in the mid lane. They're securing themselves the priority there to start the vision war on their own terms. Silver Wisp earlier with that greedy recall there getting caught. Now will avoid the scatter elite. Oh, that is too greedy. Here comes the Facial Prism. Silver Wisp already get outplayed by the Syndra R. And now the chase is onto How to Typo. Has to flash away already. But there's so much to see on the other side. Here comes the stun. Manages to evade the death sentence though. But now it's a 5v4 on the map for 14 more seconds. This could be an Elder Dragon for Halstendeutsch. This could be what turns this game around for good. Another hook lands onto How to Typo. No follow-up for now. The vision is secured. Elder in 10 seconds.
Yeah, Glotzen feeling warmed up, got the hooks. This Ornn pushing top lane, it's not going to do much. If they lose this Elder, that could be lights out because it leads straight into Baron after. They need to be down here because they do not have the power to split push the game away.
Yeah, here comes the curtain call. Marco dashes forward to protect the team and to chase on to help the type of the top lands. He's in the middle of everybody, she is, and she will fall very, very shortly. There's the kill for the Ashe, and now it's 2 members dead, no, rather 1, because Silverwolf has respawned, but no jungler, no mid laner for the Elder. Fenderin is pushing this inhibitor down. This is going to be the only siding factor. They're going to try the backdoor. Tristana teleports to the base, not to the dragon. And Marco from FTK and Drops are going to try their damnedest to stop Depressed Llama from disturbing them. But the first Nexus tower is already damaged. And the Elder is falling, 1000 HP, 1 Nexus tower gone. Elder has died. Can they make any recalls happen? Depressed Llama is stopping them as well as he can. Will die now to the Ashe, but the Nexus is exposed. It's already on half HP. Deutschland against 2 members. This will not be enough. The backdoor attempt succeeds. And Garlic Bread Mafia will win game 2 as well. Congratulations. With a teleport backdoor nonetheless.
Once again, I've seen Silverwisp end the game by walking into the enemy base and just taking objectives for free. It was how the last game ended, it's how this game ends. Silverwisp, they are just the sneakiest player when it comes to this. You saw the Ornn up there, and it was like, well, Tenderin, they can't end the game on their own. They're just an Ornn. So the red team, Hamsterdush, they were happy to keep fighting that dragon. But then the Tristana TP in. At that point, the game was already over. I've seen Depressed Llama walk around 5 people in these 2 games for far too long. So the second it came to them trying to interrupt recalls, the game was all but over. There was nothing left for Halstendosh to do.
Yeah, they did get the Elder. Props on them for getting a catch onto how to typo early on. But they left their base open. They really had only bad choices at that point in the game, so I can't blame them for the choice they made. The game was in real jeopardy the moment they lost 2 kills at level 1 to the Pantheon. That just snowballed completely out of control. But I think the MVP for this game, at least, should be Depressed Llama on this Alistar. Absolutely phenomenal play.
Yeah, between them and just the proactivity of how, despite getting fed 2 kills in the early game, how to typo, she was very proactive the second they got ahead. They really did just snowball this game out of control. And while we saw Halstendosh do some really nice plays to get back into it, Deuter really did show their chops this game, actually managing to slap people on this Mordekaiser with a few minor mistakes. Otherwise, it was pretty good. Looking through the rest of it, I really liked how the bot lane played out once they got ahead. FDK, while they are a Jhin main who also plays Ashe, they did a really nice job this game. First time rookies looking through, I would say everybody had their shining moments. Floki, mid-game, we saw those first few kills that they managed to pick up. They were really playing the Syndra. They were hitting that skill button with all they got. And for FDK and Glotzen, while there were some slip-ups, they were clearly playing against the best players on the enemy team. Jumba and Depressed Llama, very proficient on their champions. And they were more than happy to take advantage of the fact that the bot lane was new and not willing to take some of the risks. As the split goes on, I can certainly see Halstendosh being a problem for people to deal with there.
Yeah, they definitely showed that they will be someone to be reckoned with in the future. They've showed glimpses of very good play here. I think if this game goes on a little longer, for example, this is not an Elder but a regular Dragon because they get one at one point in the game, I can see them coming back because the comps were swimming back in their favor. They were winning fights, they were getting catches, but they were just too far behind to claw themselves back into this game. And a very well executed early snowball from the side of our garlic bread enthusiasts on the other side of the rift deserve 2-0 victory.
Indeed. Definitely not a robbery, despite the amount of backdoors that we saw just for turrets being taken. I would very much, if you're playing against this team in the future, just keep your eye on Silverwisp's teleport. If you don't track TPs, A, you should. B, make sure you do, because Silverwisp, they will use that into your base at every opportunity.
And we have an interview guest here.
Here we go.
Team's mid laner, Silverwisp.
Hi.
Welcome, and congratulations on your first win in Valence
Thank you. Yeah, it's the first real game of VL I've played. It's pretty good so far. Yeah.
Tell me, how do you press teleport so well?
Yeah, I know. It's really it's a talent that I've developed over the years because I started playing in top lane. So like I found the D key on my keyboard, and since then it's just been uphill. Like
Yeah, we were wondering if you were a Tryndamere main in your.
I really wasn't. No, honestly, I split push more in that game than I've ever in my entire life. But it's just better to split push sometimes. Like before an objective, you push out a wave. Like they kind of
You don't know when to stop.
Yeah, I'm addicted, man. It's like meth.
Yeah. About that, who was making these calls on the side lanes?
That would
Because
be me.
You guys have been playing these side lanes and the map overall with the teleports and the global ultimates very, very well.
So I'm the main shot caller of the team, and the reason, like you probably tell that we really didn't put much influence on mid lane this game because we scouted our position and we kind of thought that the best avenue to attack would be bot lane and top lane. So we went for like really non-carry mids. We thought with the current meta, there's always going to be like Seraphines and Anivia bans. Like it would just be much better to get non-carry mid lanes apart from the Tristana, which was a carry, but like especially for the first game, and just like rotate a lot. And yeah, I know. I think it's like a weakness of a lot of VL teams that we've seen. So we kind of hoped that we could capitalize on it. I thought we did okay.
Yeah. How sure were you that you were going to win this game after you got 3 kills on the level 1 invade?
Oh yeah, I don't know, man. It was a shaky start. You know, we prefer getting 4 or 5 kills with our invades generally, but like we'll take 3.
Yeah, I mean, the first game, I was a bit worried when I didn't see the 3 kills. That was a lot shakier of a performance, I would say. Everybody clearly getting into the boots, but you guys did turn it around and pull that one.
We really expected a lot of pressure would be put mid lane in game 1 because Echo Sejuani is such like an aggressive, like early game, like a really easy way to get kills early. So we kind of just like submitted, or at least I did, into the TF because does it really matter if TF's 0-4? Not really if you've got a CS lead.
Yeah. Also with the Alistar constantly roaming mid lane, I think.
Oh my god, he's never played Alistar. In none of our scrims he's played Alistar. He says he's really bad at the champion. This is the first time I've seen him on it. He's crazy good. Jesus, like
I can see why it got through with the fact that they're more of the Nautilus, that kind of champion player. But you know, definitely transferable skills we saw. Those were some fancy feet coming through as soon as they figured out the WQ combo.
Yeah, there was a few. It took a little bit of a learning, but you can figure it out eventually, I think.
Yeah.
You know, we like to learn on the fly. We pick first-time champions in these kind of games.
Learning by doing. Speaking of that, I don't know how much you guys have scrimmed the other teams of the division yet. What is your perception so far as you guys are a new team, how the level of play in the division is, and how are your expectations towards where you will land at the end of it?
I mean, from what we've seen so far, there's a few teams like OPN who have had like a lot of experience, a lot better macro, and especially vision macro. But from what we've seen, a lot of the time, there's some very, very good micro players, but people don't have rotations nailed or like really strong macro nailed. And I think like honestly, I think with like strong macro, we could probably win Div 2 quite like. I'd say we're pretty confident, honestly, so far from what we've seen. We're pretty confident, I think.
Out of the players on the enemy team, who would you say was giving you the roughest time over the 2 games, just for regards of keeping you guys from really getting those backdoors and whatnot?
I honestly, I wouldn't say we were particularly worried about any one player on their team throughout any of the games. There was never really a moment where we were particularly worried about one person, even like a 9-kill Ashe by the end of last game. We were just quite confident in the comp that we drafted that as long as it's relatively gold neutral, we don't really need to worry. And we're all pretty confident in like playing out the team fights. So yeah, I wouldn't really say there's anyone, to be honest.
Very fair.
Words from Silver Wisp, mid laner of the victorious team of today. Now, Melvin Nizzle, do you have any more questions for our esteemed guest?
Unless it's how I can get that teleport key off of your keyboard, I think I'm all right. But thank you very much for coming on.
Right,
£250. I'll mail it to you.
One more question. I do have a question I really like to ask at the end of every interview. Is there someone you want to especially call out or shout out in the positive way before we wrap this up?
From like the game or just in general?
In general, from the league.
I like Obama, but
good choice. Good choice.
I mean, so far, I think like obviously this is my first time playing in VL, but like I found the mod team of VL to be like really forthcoming and like helpful with any kind of problems that we've had, because we've had a few technical issues and stuff. We found them like really, really helpful. Also, Tease from Firefly Squad taught us the counter-engage strategy that won us the second game. The counter-invade strategy. Tease, absolutely. How to Typo played for Firefly Squad previously, and Tease taught us that, and that won us game 2. So that's the shout out.
All right, good on that one. I wish you guys the best of luck for the rest of the season, and congratulations again on your first win today. We're looking very much forward to how to your team playing in VL in the coming weeks. Now, I wish everyone a good night. I thank you guys for playing. Thank Melvin Nizzle for casting with me. Thank Tezzy for streaming, and of course, all of you guys for watching. Melvin Nizzle, I'll give the last words to you.
Oh boy, no pressure whatsoever. Well, thank you very much, everybody, for joining. It's been a wonderful experience. First stream of the new year for me and first time casting with the league. Thank you all very much. Again, congratulations to the Garlic Bread Mafia, and have a nice couple days, everyone.
Over the edge, feel like I'm floating